Hi, my name is Brendan Crothers, and today I want to talk about elementary school. Okay, so the reason I want to make this video is because I thought of my suspension in elementary school. This was a while ago, and honestly, I think it was completely unfair and uncalled for. And I didn't even understand what was really going on at the time. So back in elementary school, I think I was in the 3rd grade. So what? 8, 9, 10, well, whatever that age is. I was around that age, and I was in class. I was getting bored, so I started doing the finger gun in class. Now, obviously, you can't do that at school, but I'm a 9-year-old at the time, and so I didn't know it was wrong. I didn't know what was going on. But, my teacher had a little bit of an issue with it. It was my history teacher. Oh, wonder why. So, I get sit down to the principal's office. They tell me I get suspended, and I was confused. I'm like, I was asking about why I was getting suspended, whatnot. The principal told me that, he can't have there being depictions of guns at school. I told him it was just a finger gun. Before I said it was just a finger gun, though, he had told me, he's like, why would you make that shape with your fingers? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what a finger gun is. Now, he had told me that it's issues with other parents. They might think that their kids aren't safe. And I'm also thinking in my head, because he told me it would be a 3-day suspension. What is 3 days gonna do? I didn't say that out loud, obviously. And, again, I'm 9 at the time, or whatever age I was, a real young kid. And I'm thinking this guy's an absolute buffoon. So, he has to call my mom, she has to come pick me up, and he continues chatting with me for a good minute. And, first off, I don't know, man, give a kid a benefit of the doubt. But second off, because I got suspended, any kids with infractions during that school year didn't get to go on the end of the year skate trip. I was the only kid who wasn't allowed to go, because apparently no kids were suspended or anything like that. And I had to sit in this classroom with the science teacher, and he's looking at me, he's like, because he thought I was a good kid, and I was. He looks at me, he's like, why are you in here? And I told him what had happened. And he's like, oh my gosh, I told him which teacher he was, or which teacher it was. And he's like, that makes sense. In any case, I thought it was dumb. My teacher, my science teacher that is, thought it was stupid and whatnot. And, I'm starting to think that the other teacher, the history teacher, had it out for me. Because, thinking back on it, the principal was probably just doing his job. He had to do it because it was reported by the teacher. My mom picks me up after that end of the day, and I get grounded. I explained to her I didn't know I did anything wrong. I get grounded. Are you kidding me? But I digress. That's in the past. Second time I got suspended, absolutely deserved it. I was a piece of crud. I really deserved this one. There's this kid. He was a tall, lengthy kid. And I thought it was ironic to call him Chunky. And then I added monkey to it. There's no connotation to that. I was calling him a chunky monkey. Because I thought it sounded funny, and I kept saying it to him every time I seen him. I'm like, yo, what's up, chunky monkey? Now, I'm not really sure where this came from. Kid wasn't fat. Kid was pale as snow, and he was real tall and lengthy. But I was calling him chunky monkey, and I just thought it was funny. And that was messed up of me. In any case, we get out of the school. It's the end of the day. Horribly embarrassing for me. Awful, 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 awful. I say, chunky monkey, hey, what's up? He's like, call me that one more time and punch you in the face. And so me being an idiot, and I think I was 14 at the time, he told me he was going to punch me in the face if I did it again. I called him it again. And he got up into my business, so I pushed him. He pushed me back, I shoved him into the wall, and he punched me in the face. Now, this is the funny part of the story. Again, I was being an idiot. Funny part of the story is, after that happened, it was the end of the day, everybody was walking out of school, so everybody saw. I walked to practice, thinking nothing would have happened, even though we were literally right outside the building, right next to the office, and everybody's seen it happen. That is a train. Sorry about that. It's going to be going on for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording for the moment. Sorry about that. Train just passed. And I also realized I said elementary school stories. Well, now it's all school stories. I'm talking about high school now, I guess. Anyway, where was I? Okay, so I went to practice, and I had a black eye. There was no denying it. I got punched in the face, got into a fight, and the athletic director comes out, and he looks at me and said, "What happened?" And I mean, I wasn't gonna lie. I mean, it was clear as day what had happened. So I told him, got sent to the principal's office, had a chat, to tell them who could mediate the story, and then I got sent home, 3-day suspension again. Now, there's only 2 times I ever been suspended. And after the fact, me and the guy, we made up. You know, he told me that he shouldn't have punched me. I told him I shouldn't have said that. And, you know, never had a problem with him since. And, you know, that's my bad. I shouldn't have done that. It's another story. All right. Talking about stories. I was in class one time, right? And I'm just sitting there doing my work or whatever. But, you know, I didn't want to do my work. So me and my buddy were cheating off each other. And truth be told, this was the easiest work we could have gotten. It was a different history teacher. We were in sophomore year, I think. And he was a really cool teacher. But he gave us easy assignments. And, I mean, I guess I was just being lazy. So, teacher starts to walk by. So I hide the other guy's homework under the desk, and I put it on my knee. I'm an idiot, apparently, because, of course, he saw me do that. And he grabs it out from under me. And he's like, "Come on now. Don't be doing that." Said something along those lines. And I gotta say, I felt real embarrassed right there. All right. What's another story? I was in weightlifting class, and I was paired up with 2 guys. And one of them, he just didn't want to do the form right. And, you know, to each their own. I can't tell you what to do, but when I see that you're probably going to hurt yourself and that you're low-key kind of cheating on your PRs, I'm going to say something about it. So I tell him multiple times, I'm like, "Hey man, you're doing that wrong, you get hurt." And eventually it gets to a point where he just doesn't want to listen. And I'm like, yeah, but he could really mess up a tendon or something. I mean, he was doing bench press with his arms all the way out, you know, he was doing a squat all weird. I'm like, he's going to get hurt. So I'm like, I got to tell the teacher, man, because, you know, I don't want to see the guy get hurt, and maybe he deserved it because he didn't want to listen to common sense. But the teacher comes by, he tries to instruct him, and the whole rest of the year, guy still didn't want to fix his form. So I'm like, all right, whatever. And I'm not going to lie to you, I kind of wish that he had hurt himself in that moment, because whole year, nothing happened to him. He was completely fine. And I'm like, the world made me wrong. Now, he definitely could have gotten hurt. He didn't. He got lucky. But that still irked me a little bit, you know? All right. This is a sports story. So it's, you know, it has to do with school. It was practice through school. One time, I was at cross country practice. If you don't know what cross country is, which I'd be surprised if you don't, you run a 5K, and cross country is basically where you run 5 kilometers or 3.1 miles, same thing, and it's like out in the open. You know, you're going through trees, you're going past little creeks, you're going through these open routes. And my school sucks. We had about 3 or 4 members on the team, and our course was abysmal. This was freshman year, and we were practicing our course, and all it was a loop around our school about 2 or 3 times. And honestly, every school, they were complaining about it. Rightfully so, because we had, well, I mean, we didn't really have anywhere we could have done it at. But, I mean, man, nobody wanted to come run our meet, because, you know, when you're running cross country, it's supposed to be kind of a unique course. And don't get me wrong, a lot of schools, they kind of have kind of lame courses. I mean, there was one school where the race, they didn't have a big enough area for it, so they made our race 2 miles instead of 3. So we couldn't PR at that meet. So I didn't really understand what even was the point. But you know, when we got told you only have to run 2 miles, I mean, yeah, we all chose to run cross country. But when we get told, hey, you're only going to have to race 2 miles, not 3, you know, we were all a little bit excited. And coach is like, still got to push it though. So still gotta pump it. I'm not gonna lie, we probably should have, but that's in the past. You know, who cares? We definitely did not. We took that race as a soothe time, and so did a lot of other people. I mean, we're not gonna PR. Nobody really cared that much, I guess. I mean, people kind of just placed where they normally would have. I was in middle school, or maybe the end of elementary school, I'm not sure, somewhere around there. And I was telling this joke to these other kids where it was a Bophades joke. Bophades nuts joke. And the teacher had overheard it, and she comes over, she gets a little pritsy about it. She's like, hey, that's not okay. And you know, yeah, shouldn't be joking about that, but I mean, come on. Yeah. We're all that age. We all said some things that somebody that age you wouldn't really want to hear out of their mouths, all right? What else? One year I was in track and field, and we get to this meet. Right before my event starts, there's like, it's pouring rain, it's thundering, there's clouds everywhere. And right before I had to run, meet canceled. We all went home. And, you know, I was sitting there getting amped up. I was doing my stretch outs. And honestly, if it had been like an hour before, I'd be like, all right, don't got to run today. But I was already ready to go, pumped up. You know, I'm like, all right, I was in the mindset, right? And when you're in the mindset, you're ready to go. It kind of sucks. I was amped up trying to run, but you know, it's okay. I'm gonna think on some more stories for a second. Okay, for you guys that was no time at all. For me, that was about a minute. So one year, I don't remember what year it was. I think it was probably freshman year again. There was this school bonfire for some reason. I don't know. And it was a school event, and we all went, a bunch of us went to it. And there was a lot of drunk people there. And this is one of my first times touching the reefer. So me and my buddy, we're walking around, hanging out at this bonfire or whatever at the school. And we go around, talk to a bunch of people, and we end up leaving. We meet up with one of our mutual friends, and he's got a Benjamin. Now, my buddy rips it first, you know, and then I go after him. Me and him are both coughing our lungs out. And I'll tell you what, that might have been my second or third time ever touching the stuff. And I was feeling it. And we were walking around town. And we go to one of our other friends' house. We start banging on his window. And he didn't notice it was us. I guess he started freaking out or something. But we run off through some pathway or whatever. And we're just going through town. In any case, after that point, I tell you what, I cannot remember. Because for whatever reason, it just started going up. And don't know what happened. It's kind of crazy. I might do some more stories some other time. Can't really think of any more at this point. I'm sure I'll think of some funny story. There's definitely plenty of them. Anyway, have a good evening. See ya.